And hello, welcome back to the Gay Racing Podcast. Ooh, I'm in such a good mood today. Let me tell you what. Oh my gosh. Wow. So
wow.
a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I'm off the wall. I apologize in advance, but listen, we're gonna talk about Kansas. As with every Kansas episode, we have Jackson Todd joining us. And if you're new here, Jackson, who are you?
Who am I? I don't even know. I don't know. I'm Jackson.
After last
Todd.
night, I don't know who I am anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, I come hang out here every Kansas race. I met Alex and Zack on Twitter a few years ago, pre-Gay Racing Podcast, which is wild that it's now in its what is this, year 4 of this? I guess
that's crazy.
So yeah, I've been around for a while. I enjoy the show. I like being a friend of the show. I have a good time here. Big advocate of the Chicago Street Course and Kansas night races. So I'm having a good time these last few years with NASCAR. Yeah.
They're bangers. I've never seen a bad.
So basically, I know what's up. That's Oh, I also have a website, 36xracing.com. That's kind of where I put a lot of my projects these days, instead of floating around on Twitter. So.
Yeah, we love having you on because at this rate, it's both Kansas races and like Chicago. Are we gonna have you on after Chicago again? Yeah, why not?
Works for me.
3 times a year.
Yeah,
you're definitely the leader in terms of like most guest appearances.
Oh yeah,
I'm like proud to be on top of that leaderboard.
Jackson's basically the unofficial 3rd member of the Gay Racing Podcast.
He is
at this point. You are our first guest. Like you've been around from the start.
Yeah, it's such tradition. So. We got to talk. So both Alex and Jackson were at Kansas, right? That's why we have Jackson on. But both of you were at Kansas. We're gonna talk about NASCAR at Kansas, and we're also going to talk about Formula One at Miami later in the episode. So for our Formula One listeners, it's a good day for everybody. Ooh. It's a good day for everybody. It's just, oh my god.
Yes. And even the IndyCar fans, like, it's the month of May. Like, everyone's
They didn't
happy.
have a bad race this weekend. But yeah, no bad news came out this weekend. Yay!
Yay!
It's a dub.
But why are we so happy, Zach? Because we just had the closest finish in NASCAR history. And not only that, this might have been...
My driver won it!
There's that, but this also might have been the greatest race in NASCAR history. Like, point blank. Phenomenal. Start to finish, from lap 1 to lap 267.
I can't think of one that was better. Like,
for NASCAR, I can't think of one.
I mean, this is my new, like, I was there race. Like, that had been, I mean, like, this is up there with, like, Street Course debut. This is up there with, like, Logano Kenseth. Like, this is in that tier. Like, it's above that tier. It's its own tier.
People are going to be watching this race for the rest of time.
Yep.
Like 2003 Darlington, right? It's just one of those races now. It is. And
up until yesterday, 2003 Darlington was the closest finish in NASCAR history. That is no more. Like, that is...
We kept tying it.
Like, all 3 of us, we were born, like, early 2000s. I was born in 98. Like, we were very young in 2003 Darlington. So that's all we've known our whole lifetimes. And now 2 of us were at the track to witness history. This likely is going to stand for a very, very, very long time. Like, this was essentially a tie. And we're going to get into how they determined who the winner was and everything. But this was crazy.
You know, it's so special for you guys because you were there. And someone might think right now, well, man, it sucks that Zack wasn't there, right? But it was still really special for me because my favorite driver won it, right? Yeah. I don't feel like I missed out on anything because I was sitting here on this recliner freaking out. And I will never forget that moment. And honestly, this is probably my favorite Kyle Larson win ever. Probably one of my favorite moments as a fan in NASCAR ever that I've been watching.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've never had that kind of euphoria and that kind of just pump up, besides maybe when I was 8 years old seeing Dale Jr. win at Michigan. Yeah. Right? Like, you know, and I ran around my house naked, but like, I wanted to do that last night, but I live in a neighborhood, so I don't.
God. So, but you mentioned Kyle Larson. This was you said I would say this is his biggest win of his career, like in terms of how it happened. And also, it's a milestone win. This is his 25th career Cup Series win. That's a quarter of 100. And also, Zach, you mentioned you're a Dale Jr. fan. His next win, he will tie Dale Earnhardt Jr. in career wins in Cup.
Oh my god!
How do you feel about that?
I made a good choice. I knew I made a good choice. More Cars references.
Yeah.
You know, and it's. Did you guys notice the month of May?
It's the month of May.
I did.
It is the month of May. Kyle Larson let me know that's the month of May. He let me know.
He did.
This is his month, man. I don't know what last night meant, but it means something.
So the fact that the car Kyle Larson beat, the 17, is Kyle Larson's number for the Indy 500. That means something. Maybe it's just a little reference from the universe. I don't know. But like, that's crazy. Like, I know Chris Buescher's been pretty good late last year into now, but like Chris Buescher hasn't been that good all year. Just felt really random for it to be Kyle Larson versus the 17 car in the month of May.
In the month of May. It's the month of May.
On a weekend that McLaren won in Formula One. And Kyle Larson's going to drive for McLaren.
There's
a lot of signs here.
Dude, yeah, McLaren winning F1 yesterday. Again, randomly winning.
Yeah.
This is the plan. This
is the master plan?
The master plan. No, it's not called it's called the, I don't know.
McLaren plan.
Called Project 17. That's what it's called. Project 17.
Oh, there you go.
Project 17. Here we go. I'm just saying, bruh. This is going to be a very special month.
Yes.
That's all.
And we say it every week now, but Zach and I will be at the Indy 500, as will Jackson. All three of us. Really
might be my last day on this earth.
If Kyle Larson wins the Indy 500, I don't know if Zach's going to make it.
Track. I'm dying there.
And I was trying to say, like, are you going to come to Kansas now, Zach? And you're like, you told me you would have had a heart attack if you were there last night. So
I would have died. Well, to be honest, I about died last night. I thought someone stabbed me in the heart when I saw Chris Buescher #1 on the pylon. I was like, no, this is not happening.
Right. Well, let's talk about that, because Chris Buescher, they did think that him and his team, they did think he won. The pylon at the track, Jackson and I can confirm this. It said that the 17 was first.
Said that on Fox too. So timing and scoring had the 17 cars the winner. Yeah. And that's where a lot of this, because of course a Hendrick car won, so we have to make it a controversial thing. They can't just win a race. Not like they're the best team in NASCAR, but the transponders, and there's the whole thing on Twitter. Denny Hamlin explained it on his podcast really well, but the transponders in the back of the car, right? And apparently the line for the start and finish line is like, I don't know how to describe this. It's 3 feet behind the start and finish line. But by the time the transponder crosses it, the noses of the cars have already passed the start and finish line, like what we see at the track. So that's kind of where they needed to go back to the photo and actually let the photo determine the winner. And again, there's so much controversy about, the line's not painted straight.
And so if you are confused about that, and I saw a lot of people very frustrated about this whole, the start-finish line isn't even. If you're confused about that, Jeff Gluck did a really good video about it on Twitter. Zach has gotten up and left, by the way, if you're on audio. I have a feeling I know what's coming, but
I'm excited.
If you're not, Jackson's excited.
I had to get something.
Oh, I think we know what it was. But if you are if you're a frustrated person and not happy Kyle Larson won, I'm sorry. Like the start finish line is just only there for show. It's a visual for fans. The camera is there as like a final thing to determine, hey, it's really close. Let's figure this out.
To be fair,
and that's what it did. It showed the 5 was ahead.
It is still lined up with the start and finish line. Like that little 1 inch of blurriness on the start and finish line. Dude, it's a racetrack. I don't know what
it's not a conspiracy, y'all. Calm down.
The photos show. And by the way, some people might be like, well, if timing and scoring shows the 17 one, then certainly we should trust timing,
but timing
and
and scoring isn't perfect, and that's why they went to the camera to just double check. That's why before they said, "Hey, the 17 won," they went and double checked the footage.
We see this at every plate race too, right? Or super speedway race. If a caution comes out and ends the race, they don't go by timing and scoring or scoring loop. They check the footage. They check photos. They check to see who's physically in front. That is the precedent that's been set for a long time. So this isn't anything like, new, right?
Yeah.
But a Hendrick car won.
Yeah.
So
and Zach, how do people feel about that?
Yeah, go ahead, Jackson.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jackson.
Well, I was gonna say, and then RFK on social media was not exactly being
that was a
kind loser. That was some sore loser action on social media.
I just think it's so mean that Kyle Larson toured him for a win.
He got a crying towel.
Chris Buescher, he deserved that win. Larson should have hit the brake.
and Zach
for the win of a NASCAR race and 5 playoff points.
How dare Kyle Larson race for the win? He made contact with Chris Buescher coming to the line. That was so rude.
That's so rude. He should have just let him on by. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I'm so sick of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
They didn't paint the start and finish line straight. That's why Chris Buescher lost.
Some underpaid worker.
Hendricks.
Underpaid worker painting the line. That's why.
We Ford fans have gotten screwed by 3 photo finishes in the same year. Ryan Blaney at Atlanta, Ryan Sieg at what's his face at Texas. Now this.
Yeah.
I'm
Ford
so sick
continues
of the
to be winless this year.
We just saw the best race of all time, and people are complaining.
People are talking about paint. People are talking about paint.
Seriously?
We just saw the best race of all time. We're talking about paint.
We saw the best race car driver pull off the best finish.
Welcome to NASCAR.
God.
Yeah. But again, if you're confused about all that, if you're offended by the crying towel, go check out Jeff Cluck's video. He breaks it down really, really well. And I think it's point blank that this is NASCAR made the right calls here. Like, there's no conspiracy. But anyway, guys, we kept saying it, one of the best races of all time. And Jackson, I want you to start here because stage 1, I was texting you throughout it.
Yes.
That was unbelievable. Like, what were you seeing from because you were over by turn 4 in the grandstands. What were you seeing?
Yes. I saw an absolute amazing stage of NASCAR racing. That's what I saw. Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain going at it in stage 1. Really, I mean, it took a minute, to get everyone wound up and going. But once we got settled into the green flag run there, it saw the peak. I mean, not necessarily, I guess I won't say quintessential NASCAR, but for what NASCAR is right now, that is the peak. You can't get better than that. Like, it was the perfect amount. You had tire wear, they were able to move the cars around. They were able to use air in a way that it was like a tool, but it wasn't everything. And I think that's what makes it great, is the air being a tool and not, it's not the only thing that matters. So
it was so easy to pass last night, but it was so hard to clear, and that's what makes good racing.
Yes. Yeah. And even when they did clear, I mean, you clearing did not mean you were actually clear, because it meant that if you cleared them going into 1, by the time you got out of 2, that might mean that you're getting passed again. And I mean, we were talking, the Hamlin Chastain battle for the lead, but this was everywhere throughout the top 10. I've watched the highlight video. I haven't watched the full broadcast, but if I know anything about the current broadcast situation, there's no way that it was able to correctly show how many battles were going on through the field. And I mean, it wasn't just the battle for the lead that was like this. I mean, every position, the battle was a similar version of the same battle that was happening for the lead.
I will say there were times last night where it's I was like, man, I wish Fox would split screen this right now, because I need to watch, because there was a battle for the lead happening, but then a battle back. And I was they were showing us the battle back. I'm like, let's get the lead too. I want to see both of these, because these are very important battles.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's they needed to do what NBC does at the playoffs.
And Jackson, you mentioned the Chastain Hamlin battle. Those two are kind of just trading the lead every single lap. And what we saw before at other tracks.
Was that Larson and Chastain?
Larson and Chastain too. It was a lot of
Well, I
different
guess
drivers
Hamlin
up
was
there.
battling with them. Yeah, you're right.
But I mentioned Chastain and Hamlin specifically because when it was those two, Hamlin would get by like on the front stretch and they would side draft and then they go into one. It looked like Hamlin had the lead, and then Chastain would kind of dive bomb it middle of the
Yeah,
corner
you're
to
right.
get back by in two. And it was just so exciting. And we had that, everywhere on the track. Even if there was like if the leader got ahead a little bit, you could find another battle while you're at the track and watch it. There was always something going on, especially in stage one of this race. And I don't know if I've ever been more entertained at a NASCAR race in this past weekend, but especially in stage one. That was just, I had the biggest smile on my face the entire stage. It was fantastic. And I understand that the car, it has some issues. We've talked about it countless times here on the podcast, but really kudos to NASCAR for managing to get a good car on the mile and a half, especially at Kansas, because this is like unthinkable sort of scenario like 5 years ago. It's remarkable.
No, I disagree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 2019 Kansas race looked a lot like this. Maybe not exactly like this. Maybe not. I don't know. I have to rewatch it to be honest. But they were racing like this with the high downforce Gen 6 car. They were. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. I think we could have had a race like this, without a diffuser. We didn't need. We don't need a diffuser. It's right. Just like yes. The next gen car races so good here because this is a really good racetrack. That's my opinion, right? It's multi-groove. Right. You can run anywhere. And the one flaw the big flaw the next gen car has, Kansas covers it up. That's my opinion.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I think this
exactly.
This repave of Kansas has consistently been a great track in every car. However, this car is perfect for it.
I would say I feel like the consistency is a bit more with the next gen car. Again, I have to rewatch I just remember.
Well, Kansas we had I recall one of my first visits here, that September 2020 race, where we talked a lot about the Harvick-Logano battle.
Mm-hmm. That was like one of the worst races I've ever seen.
But to be fair, though, that Gen 6 car had less horsepower and probably maybe even more downforce. So that might have been why. Like, I think they struck a good balance with the next gen package, I guess. So
yeah. And we're at a point now, it's really interesting, not to get too much like into schedules, but it's like people want more mile and a half, so less short tracks, and like just 4 years ago is completely different. Yeah. And it makes you wonder, like Chicagoland is also a pretty worn out track. That would probably be a pretty good race. Exists. Kentucky even. Yeah, they're still there. And perhaps NASCAR will find a way to get one of the two back on there, but
take the Roval off and put it back on the Charlotte Oval, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a path. Maybe Texas gets 2 dates again. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's a path.
I will say, though, as someone like Kansas, I've been going to every race there since 2005. I am appreciating this era because this is not going to be a thing forever. Like, Kansas is not going to be the best track on the schedule forever. They're going to change the car at some point to try fixing something else, and it's going to make the product less good. Possibly, maybe not.
Maybe not.
So if you go to Kansas, really embrace this because, like, that race we saw yesterday, that's like an all-timer. I'm saying similar things I said about Bristol, but Kansas is very consistent with this car. It's like, get to Kansas Speedway this fall. Get there next year because we might not have a race like this at this track forever.
That's true.
Like,
that's why you want me to go so bad. We're in a
special era. That's why I want you to go so bad, Zach. Yeah. Because
I think, and I mean, especially seeing it in person, watching the track, because the way that it is not like every battle is like that. And I'm saying the same thing like 3 times, but it's true. And being able to watch that happen. And the other thing is being able to focus on a battle in the way that the broadcast bounces around between things. But watching someone, watching the car behind catch the car in front is almost as entertaining as the battle itself. Watching the anticipation and watching that car watch what the car in front of them is doing and watch what the car in front, watch what the car behind them is doing. And the anticipation of the battle and the build to the battle is also just exciting as the eventual battle itself.
Yeah. That's a part of racing too that people don't talk about enough. Yeah. It happens in F1 a lot where someone's running someone down and it's like, girl, get your popcorn. This is going to be good.
And that's another thing with Kansas right now. You're not constrained to what TV shows you. And I know Fox has a worse product than NBC, but even with NBC, they're going to go to commercial. They're only going to be able to show up to 4 battles at once if they decide to pull out all 4 of their cameras. it's just such a special moment right now at Kansas Speedway.
It's one of those tracks where you literally feel like you're missing something if you're not at the track. And a lot of tracks, I don't think you can say that.
Yep.
Like Richmond,
that's why
y'all weren't missing anything.
Right. Yeah. That's why I'm saying if
they were the first 30 laps. The first 30 laps, they were missing something, I will say, with the rain tires. But
if you have a chance to go to Kansas Speedway, opportunity, take it. Because we might not have this in like 3 years. That's all I'm saying. So Zach, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
I think he's talking to me, y'all. Girl, I don't know. I gotta look at my schedule.
Oh, well, we'll figure it out.
I legit think I have a doctor's appointment that Monday. I don't know.
Brother, I don't care.
I don't care. Your mental health is not as important as NASCAR.
Schedule that for the day after the Roval. Come on. But well, let's talk about the rest of this race. Stage 2. This stage got a little weird. They were 5 wide at the start of it, which that was crazy. I yelled like they're so 5 wide.
Like, that was crazy. They didn't wreck.
Yeah,
so close.
But and at one point they got a bit silly. There were some crashes. I think that was the start of stage 3. But then Jimmy Johnson had a really nasty hit into turn 1, and I guess Fox didn't get a good view of this at all.
Oh my God!
I saw this happen.
Onboard camera ever.
So I saw it happen. I was sitting in turn 1. He just appears that he got turned by Corey LaJoie, apparently. But I just saw the 84 sideways and go backward into the wall in turn 1, and it was an awful, awful hit.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, it was like
I'm very glad it wasn't the older next gen.
Yeah, I mean, he went from like the top line entering the corner to like sideways below onto the apron and then slid all the way back up the track like backwards. It was one of those hits. It wasn't just like a sideways hit the wall. It was almost like the Pocono style hits where they go like down and then back across and hit.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of a worse. It was a worse version of Alex Bowman's Texas crash that took Bowman out for several races. Like it was bad. I was holding my breath until Jimmy actually got out of the car. So I was like, oh no, like this is really bad. But he got out. And then Jimmy went and stared down Corey LaJoie afterward, which I find funny. I guess it was Corey LaJoie. I can't confirm that. I just know it was a car.
I saw a video from someone that was at the track.
Yeah. And some other things that happened, like Joey Logano spun at one point. Austin Cindric and Bubba Wallace were in an incident on the backstretch. Just got a little goofy at one point, but it wasn't like anything that like lessened this race. I still think this was like top notch.
There was a lot of stage 3 was the start of stage 3 was so it was so interesting. Kansas is so famous for its backstretch crashes.
Yeah.
For some reason, like that big pile up that it wasn't really a pile up. I mean, but then we just had so many cautions, and honestly, it got to the point where I thought it was going to ruin the race, but then it kind of introduced a new layer to this race, right? I mean, I feel like this race had everything, especially in stage 3 when we had Hamlin and Buescher and maybe a few other guys pit with like 70 to go, and then they're going to try to make it all the way.
Yep.
So we had fuel and somewhat tire mileage in play.
Yeah.
And wow. It just changed. Stage 3 was a whole nother race, but it was still like amazing.
And Jackson, you can kind of talk about this because Truex, he didn't have to worry about the fuel at the end of that race. And on that last run, he was catching Denny Hamlin. He had gotten around Kyle Busch, he got around Chris Buescher, he got around Kyle Larson.
Well, I mean,
Truex had saved his tires.
Yeah.
The way that long green flag run was going, it was looking like, okay, Hamlin and Buescher are out front, but there's a chance they're going to run out of gas. So what's behind them? And that was setting up to be Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson battling for the win. Kyle Busch was riding in P3 for a long time, keeping several car lengths between himself and Kyle Larson, and looked like this could be setting up for a Kyle Busch win. But then suddenly Larson gets around Busch, and then, here comes Martin Truex Jr. And in a matter of just a few laps, he got around Busch, and then he got around Larson, and then he was getting up past Buescher when I think Kyle Busch ended up going around. But yeah, Truex was flying through the field there at the end of that long green flag run.
And I'm a little bummed that didn't finish the way it did. And I'm not complaining about the finish we got, but I think Truex was going to win that race.
It was
that would have been
that's what we were setting up
crazy
for.
Story. Yeah. It would have been like, wow, this race just had everything. It came down to fuel and tire management at 1.5 miles. Like, I don't remember the last time we had something like that in NASCAR. But of course, that didn't happen. We ended up getting that caution with Kyle Busch spinning. I think it was like 7 to go. And then we get that final run. And of course, as we mentioned, closest finish in history, for NASCAR history. Just unbelievable. Like, just thinking about this race, it's like, man, so cool.
I mean, it's a race that now has like an aura around it, right? Like it's that. And I think I will never forget like sitting in the stands and not only watching like, you know, them bang each other off of turn 4 and like come around to the start finish line. Hey now. So they came around off turn 4 and then they came to the line. There were 4 of them there at the line, and
damn, y'all need to watch this.
Anyway, I was trying to have a nice heartfelt moment here. Anyway,
they're banging off turn 4.
Anyway, they were banging off turn 4. And they get to the stripe. Anyway, on the cooldown lap, while everyone's trying to figure out, because the pylon shows the 17, you know, you got the Imran broadcast where like Kim Kuhn starts going to Scott Graves, and then it's like, oh wait, it's actually a 5 car, and everyone just like in the stands is just like standing still in like this like frozen moment of time, like where everyone was like,
no one was leaving.
1, what happened? 2, oh my god, that was so cool.
That's
3,
so cool.
like whoa, and it was, I mean, yeah. It was wild.
And so Buescher was at the start-finish line, like ready to like celebrate. Probably Jamie Little was probably standing there, but then Kyle Larson stayed on the track and he drove in front of me, and then he like kind of parked a little past pit exit, and then he does a little burnout, and then everyone's like, "Wait, did he win?" And then they announced it over the thing, like, "Wait a minute, Kyle Larson actually won this race," and the crowd went wild. Like, besides the Indy 500 last year, I have not heard a crowd be that loud at any event I've ever been to.
That's so cool.
Like that was,
we don't get that.
It was a monumental deal.
Yeah,
we're not getting that loud.
Cool. It's cool to get crowd moments at an oval, because, like, I mean, you don't normally get to, you know, really hear or interact with the crowd unless, you know, you see like arms going up. But yeah, that was really cool when that all got figured out. And even like Chris Buescher, when he took his like sad little trip back across like through the restart zone. I mean, everyone down, you know, in the turn 4 end of the grandstand still gave him a good wave and cheer.
Yeah, such a great race. Slay of the week to Kansas Speedway, by the way. Like, if that wasn't obvious,
best track on the schedule in terms of racing product. I mean, it's this or Homestead. Because even like Las Vegas and Charlotte, I think the progressive banking is what makes the difference. Like, yeah.
Well, with this car, it's that they can run literally anywhere.
Yeah, it's like a dirt track. It looks like what a dirt track would. I think a dirt race would look like. I don't know. I'm not a dirt guy. So.
I mean, it's a similar idea. You can kind of run anywhere, and the High Line is really good.
Kyle Larson's good at it, so it must be.
Yep.
But he's good at anything because he's the best driver in the world. So.
And now let's talk about some teams that kind of flopped. Stewart-Haas Racing.
Jesus.
They always come up in this part of the show where we're like,
they make Noah Gragson look like Noah Gragson is like the next coming of like Jeff Gordon. That's what Stewart-Haas Racing makes him look like.
Noah Gregson's reminding me of Kyle Larson in the 42 at Ganassi, but I feel like it's different because we just saw Gregson a year ago in the 42 at Legacy look awful. Like, he ran last every week, but now Gregson is like carrying SHR. It's like such a bizarre thing.
I mean, it looks like he's in the. I mean, he's not with Rodney, but like it looks like he's in the Harvick car. That's what the results are showing these last few weeks.
Yeah, and Gregson. I mean,
on SHR.
Yeah.
The battle. It was particularly in stage 1 and 2. The battle to be in not last between Briscoe, Priest, and Harrison Burton was, I guess, the saddest thing I've ever seen. They're there, like, I mean, they're there doing the same battle that's happening for the lead, but it's, you know, it's for 36. It was a tough watch.
I hate it here.
And So I was gonna say Gregson, he qualified 6th, and then he finishes 9th, and he ended up falling down to like the low teens at one point. But as you said, Jackson, his teammates were battling for last. Like I even asked on Twitter, like because Ryan Preece was last for a very long time, like
Yeah, like
way
not
behind anyone else.
right, not just last, like pre-charter era backmarker last.
Yeah,
Like
it was bad. And I asked on Twitter, like, hey, is something wrong with the 41 or is he just that slow?
He's just that slow.
He's just that slow.
he didn't get
And
invited to the meeting.
yeah, and
study
I was just
group.
going to bring that up. There was a little study group that the 3 of the SHR drivers started,
No, there's
and
some high school drama.
Ryan Priest replies on Twitter. I think it was Bob's tweet. Is like, well, I didn't know about this, and then the 41 goes and runs last, and it's like, oh well, I guess that's
I
something.
can't believe you didn't invite me to the study group. That is so messed up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Noah. Come on, you have to invite me to the study group. Well, I'm not going to the dance with you anymore. Take that.
And then Ryan Priest, we learned, blocked Zack on Twitter at some point.
What the hell?
Hilarious.
Like,
Wait,
what the
what?
hell? I've never interacted with him. Listen, apparently he's had me blocked, and that's suspicious because I've literally never interacted with him. The only thing that maybe could have been is like, I think Ryan Priest brought out a caution or something, and I made a joke, and I said, someone was like, "What do you have against Ryan Priest?" I'm like, "Ryan Priest stole my wife," or I said something stupid like that. No way he saw that, right? I don't think he saw that.
Like, is he name searching himself?
I
Does
don't
he
know.
hate gay people?
Well, I'm not blocked, so I mean that says a lot about you, Zack.
All right, well, I'm gayer than you, I guess. Sorry. I get it. I like Hendrick. That doesn't mean I like Dick. Sorry.
But anyway, yeah, SHR was bad, and there's more rumors about them selling at least 2 of their charters going around. Apparently Adam Stern put out an article today. This is more like tea stuff, but we're not in the tea. That I guess SHR's laid out stuff like, hey, if you want to buy our charters, here's what you have to do. There's an article about it in the Sports Business Journal, but interesting watch there. Another team that was weirdly bad was 2311, the team who going into yesterday had won 3 of the last 4 races at Kansas Speedway. Where were they? Bubba Wallace was in the top 10 here and there, but then he was in that crash. And Tyler Reddick, I could not tell you where he was all day. I don't remember
Reddick.
seeing
I think Reddick was doing better than Wallace. I think especially over the long run, Reddick was doing better than Wallace was. I think Reddick, he didn't. The problem was he wasn't good enough to get into the stage points. He was a 15th to 10th place. That's where he was floating.
But that's still so weird.
Yeah,
because those 2 were like the top 5 cars the past 4 visits. It's obviously a 2311 thing too, because the Gibbs cars were still good.
The rest of the Toyotas were fine, and I think what the Toyotas were able to do really well is they had really perfected that second lane down. If you weren't running the wall, there was that second lane down, and that's where the Toyotas had the edge over everybody else. And I mean, I'd have to really think or go back, but I'm going to say it with like a 70% confidence here that was the edge that 2311 has had, because I feel like that's not just something that was this weekend. I remember that from before, and that must have been now thrown out to the rest of the Toyotas. That 2311 just, they couldn't keep it anymore and didn't bring the right upgrades.
They also it seemed like they were just stuck in traffic all day, but again, it's like we saw Denny get through traffic.
And I mean, Reddick was able to make moves. Reddick was able to make moves through traffic. It's his ceiling was just. I think the ceiling for him was 10th. He wasn't able to get into that elite tier.
Yeah.
And side note, we didn't touch on it. We talked about Chris Buescher, but Buescher had a penalty at one point for going over the wall too soon. The crew members, but he drove back up there. Obviously, he finished second. He almost won the race. Right. And Ford hasn't really been good.
Well, that was
SHR was obviously bad.
He didn't drive up. He didn't drive up.
But still, he managed to get back up there, and I think that is notable.
His crew chief did. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, but still, I think that is notable. And then, so Jackson, let's go to you now because you track playoff points. Because I know one of our TV partners do not acknowledge that this exists.
Yes.
But you have a website, you mentioned it earlier, 36xracing.com. And you do a little fun projects, but I want to focus on the playoff points.
Should I pull it up
What
right
are
now?
if you'd like, yeah. What are the playoff points looking at?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's, I mean, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin, of course, as it should be. I think the important thing to mention here when we're talking about playoff points is that the thing that I do that I don't understand why nobody else does is it's adding the live regular season bonus.
Yeah,
like we need to be this is what needs to be talked about throughout the season. Like Martin Truex Jr. on paper, yes, he has 2 playoff points right now, but he's second in the regular season standings. Like he's still a factor.
Yeah.
And I think what looking at it this way does is it emphasizes what actually like matters to the teams, like what they're going after every week. And you're either someone fighting for those spots in the top 10 for the regular season bonus, or you're fighting for the race wins and the stage wins. And because that's what it's all about. If you sit around all summer and you're not looking at this, then it's going to feel like the regular season doesn't matter because you're not looking at what does matter.
Because this is playoff seeding. Yeah, it's literally
this is playoff seeding. And I think another piece of this that kind of this is what makes the playoffs work. If you don't look at this stuff, the playoffs don't work. If you're looking at the playoff bubble, the playoffs aren't going to work because you think entering the playoffs, if we sit around talking about like, the battle between Brad Keselowski and Chase Briscoe and Bubba Wallace, it's going to feel like anyone's making the playoff field. But if you spend the regular season looking at this battle for playoff points, that's what makes you appreciate this grind towards the playoffs. And I even have some numbers to back this up here. I went through the stage racing era. After race 12, the 3 of the 4 championship 4 every year after race 12 are in the top 5 of live playoff points after race 12. The only time a driver has been outside the only times a championship 4 driver has been outside the top 10 in live playoff points after round 12 is 2023 champion Ryan Blaney.
I knew it. I knew it.
Ryan 2021 Blaney. Chase Elliott, 2022 Christopher Bell. So all of the other champions in this era at this point in the season have been no worse than 4th.
Wow.
So it's always
regular season matters. It's good.
The regular season matters. You just have to look at how it matters instead of seeing the points reset.
Yeah.
Because this is what sticks around.
And Jackson, I think if the TV networks would showcase this rather than focusing on who's 16th in points, that would really get people to understand like how much the regular season matters. Well, and I would love if they actually covered this.
And if you look at the storylines, this is what I try to do when I post this every week, is if you think about like the storylines, like what are the storylines coming out of this weekend? If you look at just this, it's that Kyle Larson finally got a second win, so he shoots way off to the top. Denny Hamlin got a stage win to separate himself from William Byron, and William Byron lost a spot in the regular season standings to Ryan Blaney. So Byron drops out, so it's not really a big 3 anymore. And Blaney finally kind of scoots back up again above that 5-point line, which is where you kind of end up with maybe those fluke winners that are going to, kind of float around that round of 16 cut line. So, and then of course, Martin Truex Jr. getting close, but not quite getting a win. He really needs a win to get into that top tier playoff points.
And so let me just kind of run through this here because not everyone can see our video, but Kyle Larson right now has 31 playoff points. Is this based on the regular season points right now as well? So Larson has 31 points, Hamlin has 25, Byron 19, Elliott 14, Reddick and Truex have 12. And like that matters. And this can change, of course, as the regular season goes on. But like, look at that. Kyle Larson right now, if the playoffs started today, has 31 playoff points. Like that's a big number for what, like still like 14, 13 races to go until the playoffs start.
Right.
Like the regular season matters a lot. And that's why this format, and you telling me about this, Jackson, has really made me a believer in this format. Like it's really good.
That's what I feel like. I feel like a few years ago I was kind of like coming around to this idea of this format. I don't know, Zach and I got into it at some point, I'm sure, about this format and playoff points and all this. And I think now that we've finally been in it for a few years and like we have the numbers to kind of like back this information up, and I feel like I've finally kind of figured out how to articulate it like this. But this format is really good. if you look at the season the way that, like, I feel like teams should be looking at the season, and you need to take a step back and look at the big picture sometimes.
Yeah, because like we already have an idea what the playoffs look like right now.
Right.
Like in a way, the playoffs have already started. If you like look at it like this, it's like battle's already going on.
Right, because you're going to be battling at Martinsville for these points.
Exactly. Well, check that out at 36xracing.com. Jackson's worked really hard on this. I've heard a lot about this from him. And you do other things like you track the podiums in NASCAR.
Yeah. So this weekend,
write little blogs. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk about like some podiums repeating, which is a very like silly and like uniquely NASCAR thing. Like this past weekend, the podium was the same 3 cars from like the 2011 Spring Dover race. And like the Daytona 500 this year was the first exact repeat of a podium in the same order that we'd seen in a while.
Cool.
So
that's cool.
I have a lot of fun there. This is all the things I used to just kind of like put on Twitter in like threads or miscellaneous posts, but I try to keep them all in one interesting website. So.
Oh, I like the most common exact podiums. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's fun. NASCAR's fun at the end of the day. So this is some of that fun on that.
I like this.
So yeah, if you like stats, go check that out. It's a lot of fun. And with that, Jackson, let's kind of talk about the at-track experience, and let's get Zack inclined to come to Kansas Speedway, because
to sit there and not watch anything.
So we're actually going to talk about some negative things about Kansas Speedway real quick, but also just love the facility. Like you can sit literally anywhere and see the whole track. Like it is so impressive. But they have the new logo, like a lot of the other ISC.
Yeah, how's the new logo
doing?
Because I like the new logo a lot.
It's growing on me.
I don't mind the new logo. I much prefer the older one. I think the old one actually aged really, really well for Kansas Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem Jackson and I were talking about during the rain delay was the branding of it is just not great, because they have the old one either covered up or it's still there. Then you have the new one. They have like a sticker of it on all the signage, and it looks bad. Like they didn't really make it blend in well with all the signage.
I see.
I would hope by the time we come, I would hope by the time we come around for the playoff race that has all like cycled through a little bit better.
But I feel like they're not going to do anything else. I feel like they're just
going to
leave it as is. Yeah. And like, is this a big deal? No, but there is a proposal within the Kansas Senate House right now. That's a proposal to try and get the Kansas City Chiefs, who just won the Super Bowl, to move right across the interstate from Kansas Speedway. You'd be able to see the Chiefs Stadium if this were to happen from the grandstands, right? Like it'd be right there. And if you're going to get a state-of-the-art stadium right across this street, basically, and then you're going to come to the NASCAR track and it looks like it's just stuck in 2001, it's not a good look, in my opinion. No. So I definitely think it's something that should be mentioned. It's not the end of the world, but it's still something that, needs to
It's just something like you just have the on-track product at Kansas. We spent this entire episode talking about how phenomenal it is. So when people show up to this facility, make sure that like if it's your best on-track facility, get the facility itself to match that tier, especially when it's a track owned by the series, especially when it's a track that has 2 dates a year, especially when it's a track that has a playoff date. Those need to be your best. Those need to be, your top tier places. And it's just, it's the little things that really add up.
Yeah. But like, other than that, I love Kansas Speedway. I would say, I mean, I've gone to Kansas so many times, but I would still say out of the tracks I've been to, like I liked it way more than Kentucky. I did Daytona, but a lot of that felt almost too modern in a way. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like they were trying too hard to show like the futuristic stuff at Daytona.
Well, I'm so sorry. They gave you a nice place to watch a race.
I don't know.
NASCAR fans wearing your NASCAR 75 shirt. Of course, you're going to complain the track's too nice.
God. But you'd have to see what I'm talking about at Daytona. I just felt like it was a bit.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, I know. But
shocking.
Kansas, it just deserves more love, and I hope with the amazing on-track product, maybe NASCAR will put some of that back in.
The championship race. Actually, it'd be too cold. It'd be too
That-
cold. You'll be shivering.
Yeah, I've been.
Go Kyle Larson. Like, yeah, that's gonna
There's
be
been
me.
chatter about that. Like, oh, we should host a finale. I think the compromise is Homestead.
Well, I
which,
know.
like,
If
we've
only
done
there's
that
another
before.
mile and a half with progressive banking. Oh, that had to go together in November. Let me see. Man. Oh, darn. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to keep going to Phoenix.
I will say, at least Kansas this year it got promoted from the round of 16 back to the round of 12. Like we're heading in the right direction.
Oh, I forgot about that because I hated it in the round of 16. To be honest, I feel like it should be. Well, Las Vegas is good. Never mind.
It was in the round of 8 there for a few years.
Yeah, but at least like Vegas and Homestead are really good tracks to be in the round of 8. So I'm not round of 12. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, get the Kansas Speedway before the on-track product is potentially not as good. But it's I don't know.
The hybrids for too long. The hybrids are going to ruin it somehow when they have hybrids in a few years.
All right, so let's shift gears here to a different race that happened in the United States. Formula One. We're talking about F1 on the Gay Racing Podcast.
Oh my God! What a race! Because Max Verstappen did not win.
Crazy. That's like the only time we'll ever talk about F1.
And he didn't have an issue. Like this was like a huge deal. Like.
Yeah.
Because, and it's also, so Lando Norris gets his very first career win. And apparently Lando's he's been under a lot of criticism lately for some of his like qualifying performances. And, you know, he just hasn't been able to have that clutch factor to get up there and challenge Verstappen. I haven't really been following, so I feel like I'm missing some context, but and as Oscar Piastri, his teammate, has been getting better, you know, people have been like, well, why is Lando the number one? Oscar's got more talent, blah, blah, blah. Well, Lando just went up there and ran away from Max Verstappen. Now, you know, the race started. Max was on pole, I believe. He was getting out to a bit of a lead, but not that big of a lead. And what happened was Lando Norris was one of the last cars to pit. Safety car comes out for shockingly a Williams. Oh, you mean a Williams wrecked and changes crazy. F1 history? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Wow, I'm so shocked. And Lando was able to get it was a bit of a weird safety car so Lando gets a cheaper pit stop because everyone's going slower under the safety car. He jumps out in front of Verstappen. The weird thing was that I heard about this morning that I saw, but I didn't realize what was going on. The safety car picked up Verstappen, which was not what the safety car was supposed to do, because Verstappen was not the leader, right? The pace car is supposed to pick up the leader, right?
Oh, the safety car is just like, okay, let me find the Red Bull.
Exactly. No, that's what people think happened. The people thought the pace car driver was just like, oh, where's Verstappen? Let me go get Verstappen. No, dumbass. Lando's in the lead. So, if anything, it gave Lando even a bigger advantage under that safety car to where it basically guaranteed he would get the lead. So, I don't think it was going to make that much of a difference.
So did that burn another lap? Did like the field have to go back around?
I think what happened was the safety car is like going slower than the delta time that Lando was able to run under the safety car to get to pit road. So it just gave him a bigger gap because I saw it on TV on the track map. Everyone was kind of stopped. Not like stopped, but like going really slow, and Lando's like got a huge gap from the rest of them. So eventually what happened was, I remember this on TV, the safety car then let everyone else by and then picked up Lando. So everyone had to run like a lap, I guess, at Delta speed or whatever. So it was a weird situation. Restart happens. Now, let me set the situation for you. Lando, we know Lando's going to get passed. I know. I'm like, okay, Lando's going to get passed here. Verstappen's going to get by him. But let's see what kind of fight he's going to put up for this. Well, surprisingly, Lando starts pulling away from Max.
And so let me pause you there, Zach, because I'm chatting with Jackson at the track under the grandstands, rain delay. And
we're like, night race.
Yeah, we were manifesting the night race. And I pull up Twitter and you are tweeting, you Zach, are tweeting, oh my gosh, Lando's pulling away. And I show Jackson, I'm like, what is going on in Miami? Like, people were like, oh, that ain't going to last. But then I was like, wait,
I thought it wasn't going to last. I thought Verstappen was like, I'm like, what is he planning? Is he saving his tires? Like, what is going on?
He's just having a little fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, low key, I feel I have a conspiracy, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Lando. Well, really nothing else to say. Lando. Well, there's actually a lot to say. So Lando, basically, he has like an 8-second lead at one point.
That's crazy.
And I think that's what it was when he crossed the line. And yeah, I mean, he won the Miami Grand Prix, first win, and it's just such a huge deal for so many reasons. Obviously, McLaren has a very big, I feel like, American audience because of Zack Brown, being an American. The investment into IndyCar. McLaren's a big American.
Ricardo.
Yeah, a big American brand, I would say. And for them to win in Miami is a huge deal. Lando's first win, huge deal. To do it in such a big way to actually like beat Red Bull kind of straight up. I guess not straight up, but Verstappen had a very fair shot. I'm curious on what happened with Verstappen. Miami is, it's a very unique. People say it's a unique track on the schedule. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, it has like a Mickey Mouse chicane, but that's not, again, that other tracks have a Mickey Mouse chicane. That's what they call it, legit. But I just don't know what happened to Verstappen. Part of me is like, was this because Max and Lando are friends? I'm like, is this like a conspiracy? Like Max just wanted Lando to finally get a win? I don't know. It was just really weird.
So you then were posting on Twitter like, "Oh my gosh, he won!" You were excited.
It was such a great moment. It was an amazing moment. I was like, "This is so cool." And then Crofty thought he was cooking up something. If pre-race, I saw this in pre-race. Apparently, former president Donald Trump. Don't know if you guys have heard of him. He was he was in the McLaren. God. F1 makes me want to say garage. He was in the McLaren garage. Donald was. Old Donnie. And this, obviously, how did you think Motorsports Twitter how do you think F1 Twitter reacted to that?
Oh, I'm sure they loved it. I'm sure it was so positive.
Which I can't blame them. It's
like that was sarcasm, by the way. I'm sure it was very
because they told Lewis Hamilton that he couldn't wear a Black Lives Matter shirt on the grid, and then Donald Trump should just come up here and waltz around in the McLaren garage, whatever.
We want politics out of sport unless it benefits us and we get money out of it. Yeah.
The worst part is as Lando is rounding the final corners, Crofty on the call, the lead commentator for Sky Sports F1, is mentioning how the former president, he wasn't naming him, but the former president was in the garage for McLaren, blah, 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 blah. And then he says, Lando trumps Verstappen to win the Miami Grand Prix.
He really thought he ate that up.
And here's the thing, Alex, I was texting you. I'm like, oh my God, Lando. What did he just say? No, you did not just say that, David Croft.
And then I get a text in all caps that he said that. And I was like, no.
I was like, this is inappropriate. This is not the time. No. I get you think you were being funny. I'm not laughing.
And it takes away from Lando. It really does take away from Lando.
I mean, like, did he make it political? No. Yes?
Well, if he mentions, like, the former president was here and then he does that, yeah, he did.
I would get it more if, like, at least if Trump was the current president. Trump exceeds the what's it called? He exceeds what I don't know how to word this. Like the icon of someone, the iconography. Do you know what I'm trying to say? The iconography of someone that's a president. Joe Biden, Obama, whatever other presidents that are here. Trump is like, I mean, he's known more than just being the president. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get political.
He was a celebrity. Yeah.
Because
but basically what you're saying is that it was too much.
He's crazy.
And do you want me to say more as your guest? I feel like I can go more reckless with my comments here.
But with
the gay people don't like Donald Trump? What?
But with F1's efforts to say we don't want you to be political, you can't wear rainbows, you can't say your Black Lives Matter, for them to then bring in him it's just like such a contrast, and it shows their true interests. That it's just like, okay, like we already knew you were elitist. We already knew all this, but like, come on, like just spit in our face.
It's just like,
we get it.
Crofty, why did you have to ruin the moment? Because it did kind of a day later, it's fine. I find it kind of funny a day later, just because I just picture David Croft just like, yep, this is gonna be good.
Yeah,
it's gonna be so funny.
On another page, something funnier, I think, is that James Charles was there. If you want to talk about gay people,
a lot of celebrities were there, obviously, because it's Miami.
James Charles
there was one shot of Camila Cabello.
There
was one shot of Camila Cabello. I love the celebrities. Apparently, there was more awkward, Martin Brundle grid walk.
Yeah, he thought Patrick Mahomes was someone else again. Yeah.
I'm so shocked.
Wow. To focus on James Charles, though, Max Verstappen looked like shocked when James Charles walked up to him.
The picture.
Shocked.
Look at this.
Oh, you have
Look at this. This is great. I don't think you can find a better picture. I don't know if I can zoom in. I'm trying to zoom in. I can't zoom in. Oh my god.
For people on audio, it's just a picture of James Charles taking a picture with Max Verstappen.
Max does not look comfortable. Wait, someone I think screenshotted like a closer picture of it. Maybe not.
I don't know, but
people are saying in the comments like he looks so uncomfortable. Like that's what they're saying. This is great. We need more moments like this. I want James Charles to meet Martin Truex personally. Or I feel like Denny would be very chill with James Charles.
I think Denny would be chill.
Imagine
Denny would be very chill. Martin with or James Charles with like Graham Rahal or Santino Ferrucci or something. That would be great. Okay. Max Verstappen. Max is crazy, by the way. He said some wild stuff. Like someone asked him if I'm not going to say the whole quote. It's really inappropriate. Someone asked him, well, would Lando have won if there wasn't a safety car? And then Max says something about, well, if my dad had something, then he would be my mom. And I'm like, okay, let's stop here.
Yeah. Well, speak of stopping there, and speak of gay people meeting race car drivers, I met Lawless Allen this weekend.
Oh, did y'all look like that? Did you look like James and Lawless looked uncomfortable? Is that what happened? Did you have your makeup on? Or...
Oh my god.
Did you have your crop top on?
I should have. It was cold though.
Next time you meet Ryan Blaney.
Anyway, so I met Lawless Allen, and honestly, slay of the week to Lawless Allen. I think he finished like 25th in the truck race or something. Like I don't know. And then he hit a crew member on his team. It was a bad weekend, but I hope I cheered him up a little by taking a picture with him.
He hit him.
Yeah.
But he was doing a Q&A behind the track, and there were like 20 people there, and I just walked up and like, we're with Lawless Allen, and I'm like, oh my god.
One of the 20 Lawless Allen fans. 10% of the Lawless Allen fan base is in this podcast.
Yeah.
At least.
But yeah, it was kind of a funny moment because we've talked about Lawless a lot, the three of us personally. So
he's cute. He's cute, and his paint schemes are fire. I love the paint scheme, the blue and the yellow. I love it.
Yeah.
So
cool. And then
his name,
one more thing.
His name too is cool. Lawless.
He said, and I've heard this before in other interviews, that Lawless was his great grandmother's maiden name. That's why cool. And they chose that. Oh. He probably hates it because he's always asked that, but I don't know. Anyway, shout out to Lawless Allen. He was very nice. One other thing, one other note before we go into fantasy. Eric Jones will be back at Darlington. He was cleared to run Kansas.
I saw a lot of talk about that.
Yeah. So they decided to keep him out probably because the 43 car has crashed at Kansas before resulting in a back injury.
Well,
that's probably why
we've seen
probably why they decided to wait.
I mean, again,
well, like even like Jimmy's crash, like
exactly.
I can't imagine Eric being in Jimmy's situation there and that being a good result.
Yeah.
Right. So Eric will be back at Darlington.
Yeah. Zack, I saw someone say Eric should go to Darlington and win and then check out for another few weeks.
So Zach, we are heading to Darlington for fantasy. You got the point at Kansas with Chase Elliott's third. I had Byron who finished 23rd after like 4 rounds of...
Can we talk about that?
matching.
Because it's the one. It's you know why William Byron finished all the way back there? Because you actually had to race yesterday. I'm back on the hate train. He sucks.
Woo!
Low key.
You know, going back to the playoff point discussion, he is not very high in the regular season standings, and he has no stage wins. It's all race win playoff points for him. So
I will say, Jackson, I meant to mention it earlier, but there's a bit of a big three forming with Larson, Byron, and Hamlin. But then when I looked at your playoff point thing, I was like, well, Chase Elliott's kind of there too. So it's hard to cut
and
it off.
Byron's slipping.
Three. Yeah,
it's Larson Hamlin.
Yeah, Byron. He only won Coda. We know how he won Daytona because they rigged that. And then Coda. I'm joking. Coda. Well, he was running all by himself. He didn't have to race anybody. And Martinsville again rigged. So he hasn't won a real race this year.
God.
He hasn't won a real
joking.
race.
He's joking.
No, I'm not. He sucks. He's
the rigged part. You're joking about the rigged part.
He's the third. Oh yeah.
God.
But he does. Okay. So Alex is saying he sucks. Sorry, I'm wild. I need to get this fantasy graphic up.
Okay. Oh so fantasy. You did get the point.
God, this is great.
All right, Jackson, you're not going to steal Jackson, you're not going to steal from us like we did previous years. But who are you going with for Darlington?
Who would I? Oh gosh.
Wait, no. Let him go after. Let him go after. I don't want him to give us any ideas.
I'll let you guys. I'll cook something up here while you.
All right. Well, Zach, I have a pick ready to go, and I'm ready to go again.
I have a pick as well. You ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Control V. I'm trying to pick Kyle Larson.
Why does it take so long to load?
I don't know. Please don't be Kyle Larson. Please don't be.
It's Kyle Larson.
You are gay.
Yeah, we went over this last week. I am. Yeah.
No, that's not cool. That is not cool.
He's gonna win. It's the
Whose favorite driver is he again? And you took him again?
Yeah. I want to win points.
It's his month of May. My month of May.
Okay. Let's do this again.
Alex, this is unacceptable. Well, I'm so disappointed.
Get your crying towel back out and cry about it.
I'm about to.
You'll see me in 3 weeks. We can fight about it then.
Oh my god, I'm so disappointed in you. You have your second pick all loaded up?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Control V. I already know it's gonna be Denny Hamlin. I already know it's gonna be Denny Hamlin because you're gay and you like men, and you think you would suck Denny Hamlin.
Guys, I love the fantasy segment with
I bet you want Denny Hamlin to sit on you.
I have no comment at this time.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to pick a picture. Okay. So I'll be honest, I only picked up the 3 people, so hopefully we don't have to go to 4th. Okay, let's go.
Hold on. Oh, I know who you're picking already, too. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I'm trying to pick.
I put the URL. That's stupid.
Martin Truex. I saw Martin Truex. No way.
Yeah, it was Martin. It was Martin. Yeah.
Oh,
why'd it go away?
God.
Wow, this is
in the thing.
Yeah.
Well,
it was Martin. Let me put him back so y'all can see him.
I already deleted mine.
There he is.
I like my picture of him. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. This is a great picture of him.
Imagine this man with James Charles, though. Like that.
Martin's just going to be like, damn, I need to get that boat. They making me.
I need to get out of here.
Now.
I gotta.
This is crazy.
By the way, at the tweet up, nothing was said really, but Jeff Gluck was like, I could see Martin staying around a bit longer, and everyone's like, oh, so interesting.
If they get tired, but man, he was so good at saving tires last night. Ugh. He's gotten screwed out of wins this year, low key.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like Darlington could. This is the longest fantasy segment ever, by the way.
Well, yeah, because you keep yapping about how I'm gay. It's like, we all know this.
Oh, this is a great picture.
Okay, I'm going to go with this. Okay, let me get Martin off the screen. I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I'm trying to pick Chase Elliott.
Oh.
It's Chase Elliott. God!
Oh my god!
You can't say I'm not trying. You can't say you're not trying either.
This is ridiculous. Okay. This is ridiculous. You know, I thought about just picking Denny as my first pick. So then at least I could like try to get someone as a win.
Man, who are
I'm sorry. I decided to go with my favorite driver. Like.
Okay. Let me think.
Man.
I think I know who I'm picking. I just want to double check something real quick. Because this is ridiculous. This is gonna come down to it, ain't it?
I guess I'll do this.
For what it's worth, you still haven't said the driver I'm thinking yet. I've still got my
That's insane.
ready
That's
to go
insane.
Here. Yeah,
that's kind of insane, no? Like, all right. What?
I got another one.
I really hope I get this because I'm kind of running out. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Our 5th picks for the win. Let me guess. You picked William Byron. Yep.
No, what?
William Byron. We have matched 5 times.
Oh no!
Wow.
This is probably a record. This might be a record.
This is a record. There's no way.
This is a record-breaking weekend.
Yeah, I know. This is so unprecedented in NASCAR history. Wow. Now what?
What the hell we gonna do now?
What the hell are we gonna do now?
Byron was not my pick.
I don't know what to pick now. I've got to.
You know what? I have an idea. I don't think you're gonna do it.
I wish I could pick Kevin Harvick. He's really good at Darlington.
Kevin Harvick, get your ass back in that car.
Get your ass back in the car. I need some playoff points, bro. Wait.
Okay.
I think
I got one.
Ooh, I think I have one. Let me think about it for another second or two. Oh.
1.
No, shut the hell up.
Time's up. Stop thinking.
Wait a minute.
The episode's over an hour already. We gotta go.
We gotta go. I just don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna lock in for this race.
Is Jimmy Johnson racing? Is Jimmy an option? I don't think so.
That's who I was looking up, so I'm just kidding. Jimmy, time to lock in.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. I'm trying to pick Tyler Reddick, and Alex is picking Chris Buescher.
Chris Buescher.
I don't even like my Tyler Reddick pick that much. I don't know who else I should have picked.
Reddick could do very good, but like, where was he at Kansas?
I like the Chris Buescher pick.
If RFK brings that speed again and the speed they had late last year, like, I don't know. And also, in 2003, when Ricky Craven beat Kurt Busch won the week after. So I'm going with Chris Buescher.
So
what? What is that? Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's interesting logic.
Well, I'm running out of options, Jackson.
Kurt Busch used to drive the 45, so I'm just saying.
There you go. My pick since the first round has been Brad Keselowski.
Okay, I thought about him.
We didn't talk about it, but very similarly to Truex, he was making his way through the field at Kansas. We're going to keep saying it, but he's close, and he's had top 10 finishes these last few Darlington races. So Brad Keselowski is my honorary pick.
So we're both going with RFK, and Zach, we're not splitting teammates for once.
I almost did. I almost picked.
You almost went with Brad.
I don't know. I feel better about Reddick because he has the 4th best finish on intermediate tracks this season, like 4th best average. Noah Gragson has the 5th best apparently.
So
it's crazy.
Not to ruin the vibe here, because we did just go through this a bunch, but we also have an IndyCar race this weekend.
Jesus, Lord have mercy.
IndyCar, in case you forgot, they are at the Indianapolis Road Course because it is the month of May.
By the way, Alex didn't even want to. You didn't even want to pick Kyle Larson. I already know you didn't. You don't think he's.
You said that last week, and yes, I did. He won the race. I would have gotten 3 points.
No, yes. You didn't think, but you didn't think he was going to win.
I picked him.
You didn't think he was going to win. You don't think he's going to win. He's still going to win at Darlington, but you don't think that. I think that because
Because you're a truther.
I'm a truther. I've been following. I know. I'm connected to this man. Actually,
You sound like me with Blaney last year. So, which like that aged well. So maybe this will age well for Larson too.
All right, the Indianapolis
Okay.
Grand Prix. You ready?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I'm trying to pick Alexander Palou. Oh my God, Alex matched with me. Wow, that's crazy.
This is gonna be the longest fantasy segment ever.
Ever. It's gonna be 30 minutes.
This is wild.
Okay.
This is so
It's like
stupid.
I'm back in Kansas.
This is so stupid. Oh my God.
All right.
I
got another one.
I have thoughts. Yeah. I don't know if I like this.
All right. I got one.
I didn't really do much prep for this, not gonna lie.
Thank God. You're actually leading IndyCar. That's scary.
I am leading.
That hasn't
All right.
happened in like 2 years.
You ready?
I gotta go. Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I'm trying to pick William Power. Scott Dixon. Okay.
Scott Dixon.
You thought I was gonna pick Scott Dixon again, huh? You don't actually think he's going to win. You're just trying to block me. It's not working.
Okay. Well, when Scott Dixon wins, then you can keep saying that.
Oh no, William Power will win. Mind you.
Will Power did win the Indy Road Course, Indy Road Course race in 2021. So not a bad pick, but Dixon.
I mean, Penske's just so fast. I'm at the point where I'm like, well, let me ride the Penske train, especially since they cheat now. So I might as well pick them. I'm picking the cheaters. I'm gonna go ahead and do that one.
I'm gonna say Rossi. That's my entry into the ring.
Oh, honey, you have not been watching
Really?
IndyCar. What the hell?
That's delusional.
I think it's coming around. Nope, I think it's coming around.
Dude, drivers who will win for McLaren. Rossi's at the bottom of the list. Lando's gonna win.
What?
Oscar's gonna win. Kyle Larson's gonna win for McLaren. Pato has won for McLaren when he didn't win. Teo Porcher could probably win before.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
David Malukas could probably somehow get back in that car and win for McLaren.
Now you're just being goofy. So I understand the logic with going Rossi, but like he would be like my 12th. He'd be like my 12th pick. Like if Zack and I kept going for like
he's gonna finish
round after round after round. He probably will finish 12th.
He's gonna finish 12th. I'm gonna tell you.
I think
you need to think harder.
To see what happens this weekend.
He did.
To be a little bit
he did
more
just
curious.
win. He did win Indy Road Course just 2 years ago, but that was with Andretti. But like, I would go with Colton Herta first. I'd go with Kyle Kirkwood first. I'd go with Marcus Ericsson first. I'd go with Joseph Newgarden, who is depressed right now, first. I'd go with Scott McLaughlin first. I'd go with Will Power first. It would take me a long time before I'm like, I'm going to go with Alexander Rossi. It would take me a very long time until I got there. I get it, but I think I'd even go Graham Rahal because Graham Rahal almost won.
Oh my gosh.
This is the worst I've felt about fantasy picks in so long.
Good.
I had Tyler Reddick this weekend. Honey,
Yikes.
his pit crew, their pit crew,
Reddick could win.
My God.
Reddick could win, but
he was running up front. Remember when he screwed Kevin Harvick out of the win?
Yeah,
at the Southern 500. That's kind of why I picked him. Because I'm like, yeah, he was running up front.
Yeah, but like if he brings the speed he had at Kansas to Darlington, that's. Ugh.
I don't think. I feel like. Well, I don't know. I think Kansas was just weird. I mean, Byron was slow too. Again, there was something just weird. Darlington, not that that's more of a normal track, but I think it will be a little bit. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. I'm getting so screwed.
Well, before we wrap things up here, I want to give a quick shout out because I had a lot of fun at Kansas. I talked to a lot of cool people. I went to Jeff Gluck and Bob Pockrass's tweet up. Shout out to Jeff Gluck. I kind of led a conversation about IndyCar and the state of that. That was fun. I started ranting. I had a little poll. I asked who actually watched the last 2 IndyCar races. It was fun. Yeah, we talked. A shout out to this one lady. I don't know her name. She had a shirt with IndyCar all over, and she's like, "Their marketing is terrible." And I'm like, "Go off, Queen.
Go off, Queen."
But I want to shout out her. I want to shout out Jeff Gluck. I want to shout out Steve Mez at the Blaney podcast, Team Blaney podcast. Had a great chat with him. I chatted with Eric Estep. That was a lovely conversation. I've always been a fan of his for a while.
Oh yeah,
very cool. I also want to shout out a Patreon subscriber, John. I chatted with Jackson and I chatted with him. Slay of the week to him, actually. Again, this is second slay of the week to John because he got one a few years ago. Let me give it to him again because during the rain delay, I got some chicken strips and I was looking for a spot to set down the food and like put ketchup on the plate, and I could not find anywhere. But then I spotted him, and there was a table right behind him, and I'm like, "Hey, it's me again. I'm gonna just stand here." We chatted another 15 minutes. So shout out to him, Patreon subscriber.
We need more tables at racetracks. There's like not enough tables.
Yeah, there was like nowhere to just.
Y'all need to stop coming to the NASCAR races. Just stop. Go home, watch it on Fox. Just stop showing up, please. Did your car get stuck?
No, I actually got out just fine.
Did other people get stuck?
I was FaceTiming. I was FaceTiming you, and I was like, I'm gonna go try and get my car out. It might be muddy, but it got out just fine. But yeah, shout out to all those people. I had a lot of fun. Shout out to Jackson for not only being here, but chatting with me for an obscene amount of time. Yesterday at Kansas.
Good time.
It was fun. And yeah.
Jackson, are you going to Indy? No?
Yes.
You are?
Yes. Going to Indy. The rest of my racing calendar is Indy 500, Chicago Street Course, Kansas playoff race. Very, very fun batch of races I get to go to.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll see you at Indy.
We'll take another trio picture like we did at Iowa a few years ago.
You guys got a picture yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I'll probably put that in the thumbnail. So.
Aww.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
So.
Wish you were here, Zach.
Yeah, and Zach, I'm gonna drag you to Kansas in the fall. I'm gonna figure out a way.
Well, I'm gonna drag you for stealing my 5 fantasy picks.
Keep crying about it. So you can write a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or leave a kind comment on YouTube and we'll read it. Such as Emily Love on YouTube wrote a very kind comment.
What a nice name.
They said, I love seeing that this podcast is a thing. You're about to get a new subscriber. And they left like the trans flag emoji and a couple hearts.
Yay.
So thank you, Emily. We really appreciate it. You can rate us 5 stars on Spotify as well. As I said, you can support us on Patreon. You can do that at Gay Racing Pod or patreon.com/Gay Racing Pod. Be a Patreon sub or Dom, whatever you'd like. Like, we're not going to judge. We should actually do a tier of that. I think that'd be fun. Yeah. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on socials at Gay Racing Pod, at Dreamy Zack Racing. You don't have to follow him, though. He just causes drama on Twitter. And at New Gaiden.
I can't believe. I'm sorry. You might not want to follow because I actually talk about NASCAR. Oh my gosh. And apparently it's engagement. It's engagement farming. Oh my gosh.
Bait.
It's bait.
And Jackson, you can follow Jackson at _JTodd14_ and check out 36xracing.com for a lot of stat stuff. And Zach, you want to take us home?
All hail Kyle Larson, best race car driver in the world. Max Verstappen is washed, so it's definitely not him. Yeah, best race car driver in the world. He's going to win the Indy 500 at the end of the month. He's actually going to win. He's going to win Darlington next week. He's going to win the Wilkesboro All-Star race, whether he's in the car or not.
That he shouldn't even be in.
He's going to win the pole for the 500. He's going to win the 500, lead every single lap. I mean, yeah. So,
and then you're going to have a heart attack.
Brad Sweet's the only one that's getting a double Kyle Larson this month. He let that slide because he's family. He let that slide because he's family. Like, he's not letting anything else slide. Like, absolutely not. So,
oh man,
we'll see you guys next time to talk about the Indianapolis Grand Prix and NASCAR at Darlington. Going to be another good weekend of racing, and they won't conflict because Indy GP is on Saturday. So, we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.